Hello, everybody. A good morning to you. I want to thank you for tuning in and for watching ANF Plus here with a check of the first alert forecast weather where you are. This morning, a little bit of excitement across North Georgia. We were tracking cold air filtering in, the breezy winds as well, the reason for the first alert, but also we had a little bit of excitement falling from the sky. We had a little bit of rain shower activity, some sleet pellets, and we also did have a little bit of snow flurry action, enough to actually accumulate a little bit on roofs, tops of cars, grassy surfaces, areas, with leaves, none of the roads, nothing concrete, but our natural vegetation out there, our natural soil and ground, able to accumulate just a little bit of snow. So today, on today's episode of Weather Where You Are, streaming right now, ANF Plus, including YouTube, the Atlanta News First account, atlantanewsfirst.com, the First Alert Weather app, ANF app, Roku, Amazon Fire. We're streaming so many places. Today we're going to be talking about the snow, a little bit, a light snow that we had today, as well as the additional chance for some very light, low-impact sort of wintry weather here across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta later on this afternoon, this evening, and again tonight. Again, I am First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin. If you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, mention how we were covering bases on a lot of different platforms. And if you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, again, you can reach out to me on YouTube. That is the account to like and to follow. In fact, Justin Spino already asking, will it snow near Braselton? That would be unlikely, but not impossible, and probably not snow. We're talking about sprinkles, a couple of snow flurries, and maybe a few sleet pellets. It's unlikely that you're going to be seeing anything there in Braselton, Justin. The only chance of accumulating, we're talking not roadways, but the only chance of some very light accumulating snowfall is above 2,000 feet up in the mountains of far North Georgia. We'll break it down in the maps here in just a moment. Just wanted to kind of touch base, give everyone a general synopsis of what is happening, and let a few folks join before we dive too deep into the first alert forecast. Again, right now, watching conditions actually improve a little bit across North Georgia. We're going to take you to radar right now. Not too much going on at the moment, but still a little bit of moisture moving through North Georgia, mainly north of the metro. So we're going to pull first alert radar up here in just a moment, track where that rain is right now. And again, not looking too significant out there, but as this morning proved, it doesn't take much to reach the ground out there. We actually did have, even with just very light greens and barely detectable by radar sort of echoes, as you will, we did still have some of that reaching the ground across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. That was this morning. And as we take a look outside right now, in a sense, first alert radar, we're still tracking a little bit of that moisture. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and switch it over to a more sensitive mode, maybe give us a better picture of what is actually happening. And you'll notice that it's very, very light, but still a little bit of moisture there moving across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. All green right now, but earlier we did have, of course, whites and pinks, sleet, and a little bit of snow detected. Really, anyone, and I'm going to highlight this area that saw a little bit of this activity earlier this morning, from Dade County, far northwest Georgia, down into Chattooga County, Floyd County, Bartow County, northern Paulding County, North Cobb, even North Fulton, into portions of northwest Gwinnett, Forsyth, Western Hall, on up into the mountains here. Inside that red circle is where we did have a little bit of light wintry weather. Only accumulation was very, very light, and it was above 2,000 feet up in portions of Ellijay, in and around the Morganton area. No accumulation there, but a little bit steadier flurry across that part of Georgia earlier. And we still do have a little bit of this moisture, but now the temperatures have warmed up a bit, and we'll talk about current numbers here in just a minute. This is likely mostly liquid rain, maybe a couple sleet pellets, a couple snow flurries, but it's going to be hard to notice anything wintry falling out of the sky here. But we'll track this off to the south and east, deeper into Metro Atlanta, perhaps getting into Marietta by 11:59, next 10-15 minutes, the southern flank of this. Alpharetta 12:15, Dunwoody 12:19, 12:33 into Tucker. But again, these are likely all liquid raindrops, maybe a sleet pellet or two, maybe a flurry or two, but notice how temperatures aren't all that cold across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. Most of us averaging in the upper 30s and the 40s across the area right now. So we're going to be watching for the possibility, of maybe just a little bit of wintry weather back in the first alert forecast. But it does look like that the chance of significant wintry weather for the time being is going to be diminishing just a little bit here across North Georgia, perhaps coming back into the picture as we get just a little bit later in the evening. But just keep in mind that yes, we are not expecting any significant weather as we get into the afternoon. Perhaps as we get into this evening and overnight tonight, we're going to be watching that potential to get just a little bit more significant. Again, bear with me just a moment. I'll be back with you in just a minute as we reset our weather graphic. Alrighty, and we are back again, back to the first alert forecast. Just wanted to really kind of begin the conversation here and make sure that I'm able to see the comments that are coming in, as well as give you the weather forecast information. And it does look like we have quite a few people streaming on YouTube and probably more watching ANF, the app, AtlantaNewsFirst.com. Thank you for tuning in and for watching. Want to remind you that if you're just now tuning in, we are watching the combination of cold and a wind speed that's a little gusty, and the combo of the two are making it feel especially cold out there right now. Current temperatures in the 30s and 40s, lower 40s at that. You factor in the breeze, it is feeling like the 20s and 30s. That's a primary reason for today's first alert. That's the primary reason for the impact. That is the impact, is what I'm trying to say. You need the heavy winter coats again. An adjustment from yesterday where we had more sunshine. Temperatures yesterday mid-50s, today struggling to get mid-40s, and the winds were not as strong yesterday as they are today. So just keep in mind that we have the cold condition, you have the wind, and it is going to feel even colder because of that wind speed. And on top of that, though the impact is relatively low, as we've been talking about, is we did have a little bit of wintry weather out there early this morning. Again, switching over radar mode here really quickly, going to go to an even more sensitive mode across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. For those curious, this is the radar site coming out of Atlanta, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. So fairly close to the south side of the city of Atlanta. Now, the further out you go from the radar, the harder time it may have reaching some of these low clouds and some of the very light precipitation, drizzle, sprinkles, flurry, sleet pellets. It could be falling from these very low clouds that happen to be, the further away you get from the radar site, the higher up that radar beam is. And sometimes as it scans, it can miss the clouds that are kind of sneaking in underneath that, especially in this kind of a setup. Nonetheless, it is indicating that there's a little bit of moisture there northwest side from Bartow County into Cherokee County. This trying to move into northern Fulton County. Also some greens there being picked up in Marietta, Cobb County. Likely just very light rain. In fact, just after sunrise, about 10 o'clock in the morning, I guess that's a few hours after sunrise, I was out in our parking lot as we had some echoes move through kind of West Midtown and Midtown, and it was all rain, a couple sleet pellets mixed in there it seemed, but mostly rain. Meanwhile, just an hour earlier, further to the north and west, there was some light snow, enough to dampen the roadway and can stick to some grassy surfaces above 2,000 feet. So temperatures have climbed a few degrees, and that has made a bit of a difference. More sprinkles than anything else, but the further north you go, can't rule out some flurries today, perhaps even some sleet pellets mixed in there as well. Gonna pull up the hour-by-hour forecast. This is probably what folks are most curious about. We know what has already happened, and we'll show you some video here that came in just a moment. So we know what has already happened, and now it's about what is expected, what is forecast to happen again as we go through the day. So again, we do have a first alert today in effect at the moment for the colder, the windier condition. So the first alert right below that clock, upper left-hand corner. Temperature struggling into the mid-40s. I think we will hit the mid-40s, but it'll take a little bit to get there. So just keep in mind that yes, there is going to be a warm-up technically from this morning, but it's not going to amount to all that much. And because of that, that is why we still have that chance of some snow flurries, some sleet pellets up in the mountains of far North Georgia, Northeast Georgia, as we get into the afternoon and the evening once again. Chances a little lower than this morning, but the potential is still there. We're talking about 20 to 30% coverage here. If you're in the metro, sprinkles possible, but if you're watching in Fannin County, Gilmer County, Gordon County, Whitfield County, even outside of our area, Dade County, far northwest Georgia, into Union County, Lumpkin County, up into Habersham County, Rabun County, these higher elevation spots, especially western Rabun County and far north, extreme northwestern Habersham County, generally at or above 2,000 feet. That's where the chance of some light snow, some snow flurries will be greatest as we get into the afternoon and the evening. Here we are, 6 p.m., relatively quiet. This is just one run of one forecast model, but I think it has a decent handle with how it is handling the rest of the day. And notice how just very spotty stuff, but some more moisture wrapping its way back in as we get into tonight and early Saturday morning. You saw some pinks and blues closer into Atlanta and some greens even south of Atlanta. So the metro could see a few sleet pellets tomorrow morning, a few snow flurries, a few liquid rain sprinkles, but we're not tracking any sort of widespread impactful wintry weather. That's just not the setup in this case. We have a lot of dry air and a lot of basically a lot of marginally cold air. So yes, obviously it was cold enough for snow to form in some areas, but in many spots temperatures just not quite cold enough but close. Then you factor in the fact that we also have not an infinite amount of moisture here. Again, very marginal setup. The first alert there is for the cold and the wind. Secondary to that, the fact that you may see a little bit of snow falling. You may see a few sleet pellets. Hear that little tick, tick, tick on the windshield driving on the freeway, especially tonight, tomorrow morning, north of town. But no roadway impacts. We have the first alert because it's just a plain old breezy, cold, wintry day. And it is looking like the impact will be relatively small. Justin Spino again on YouTube. Do you know when's our next chance of snow is in Atlanta? Nothing too significant on the horizon, but I will say there are a few more storm systems we're tracking. Nothing to indicate right now that there's a solid chance of snow in Atlanta. Again, nothing to indicate that, but we will be tracking the potential for more systems to interact with some cold air, and we'll just have to see how they interact. But right now, no snow in that 10 to 14-day forecast for the city of Atlanta, for the immediate metro. But we'll be watching the setup to see if we need to adjust that forecast as the time gets a little bit closer. Slide Jones saying, what does it feel like outside right now? I would say an average would be in the upper 20s and 30s. Again, it is quite chilly out there, and you're looking at a forecast model. This is out the door tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. first alert. Temperatures back into the low to mid-30s, the breeze still blowing, so I think out the door tomorrow morning it will probably feel like it is in the 20s. Similar to this morning, we had wind chills in the mid to upper 20s. Current temperature is now in the upper 30s, lower 40s, but here is a more detailed look at what it feels like outside right now. Feels like 31 in Canton, 30 LJ, 30 Blairsville, 31 in Atlanta, wind chill up 34 in Carrollton. Nothing too crazy, but it does feel colder than the actual air temperature with that breeze factored in. And back to the hour-by-hour forecast, we do have that chance of additional spotty light rain and snow flurries even into Saturday morning. Here we are, 10 a.m., still some mountain snow flurries, a couple sprinkles, sleet pellets possible into metro Atlanta. No accumulation with that, though. We're not worried about that being a hazard to driving or anything like that. I want to, again, remind you there are no severe weather or winter weather watches, warnings, advisories in effect. None of those. So just a cold, breezy to windy day, and a day where you may notice some wind-blown raindrops or sleet pellets or snow flurries flying on by your head, but not a day where you really need to adjust your schedule. Just, of course, make sure that you are wearing that coat. In fact, focusing in on the temperature here, this is what the actual air temperature is forecast to be through the afternoon. And it will be quite cold across North Georgia and metro Atlanta, mid-40s, and it may struggle to get there a little bit. Again, we're still just 39 degrees. We should recover. We've even had a couple peaks of sunshine out across the area the past, hour or two. But it can only do so much. We have a lot of clouds, and we still have cold air settling back into North Georgia and metro Atlanta, so we will probably not warm all that much from where we are right now. Warmest, in quotations, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe 3:30, and then temperatures do slide back into the lower 40s, eventually upper 30s out the door this evening if you have any Friday evening plans. And of course, it is the Friday before New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Many of you probably have plans, so make sure you are bundled up. You're wearing your warm layers this evening, overnight, tonight, into tomorrow morning, because again, cold air is here, and it is here to stay for the next couple days. On that note, we're going to go ahead and pull back up the 7-day forecast. Wind chills in the 20s. First alert to that. You need the heavy winter gear once again today, especially this evening again into tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon will be just as chilly as this afternoon, though maybe a little more sunshine and a little less wind, so it may not feel quite as cold. Nonetheless, it will still be cold. And then Sunday, nicer day, mid-50s sunshine, lighter breeze. Yeah, jacket, but that's the pick day of the weekend. Your New Year's Eve actually looks pretty nice. And then New Year's Day, showers again possible as one of these storm systems I was just talking about begins to move back into North Georgia and metro Atlanta. And then a third system possible as we get into our Wednesday and our Thursday. Right now, not a likely chance of rain, but a setup we'll need to watch. I mean, it's a tricky scenario here. Cold air filtering south, storm systems occasionally on the edge of that cold air tracking from west to east. We will need to keep a casual eye out on the weather setup. But right now, as folks were asking, is there wintry weather besides a couple snow flurries in the forecast for the city of Atlanta? And the answer is no, but that's a quick and oversimplified answer. We just need to keep an eye on the general pattern next 2 to 3 weeks as we settle into kind of a busier winter stretch here across North Georgia and metro Atlanta. So first alert, it is feeling cold, and with the wind factored in, it is going to feel even colder, and we are not quite done with the chance of sprinkles. A few sleet pellets and a few snow flurries, that chance of accumulating snow up to an inch and probably far less than that. That's really reserved for communities greater than 2,000 feet in elevation. So portions, not even all of, but portions of Lumpkin County, Fannin County, Gilmer County, White County, Union County, Towns County, maybe far northwestern Habersham County, far western Rabun County, higher elevation spots, a chance of a coating of snow again this evening into early tomorrow morning. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Valdez is working on the forecast for you. She'll have it live starting here in just 7 minutes on Atlanta News First at noon. You can stream it anywhere except for YouTube where you're watching this ANF Plus feed. Thank you, Justin, Slight Jones, For Real, and Mike Benedetto for watching and for contributing. If you have any other weather questions, comments, concerns, reminder you can reach out to me on social media, any other of our meteorologists, Ella Dorsey, Rodney Harris, Patrick Pete, Fred Campagna, Jennifer Valdez, and Courtney Jacobazzi, all here to keep you updated as we get through these cold next couple of days. Going to leave you with a live look outside. Again, it's a little prettier now than it was earlier with a bit more sunshine peeking out, at least trying to peek out there across North Georgia and metro Atlanta. So again, thank you for tuning in and for watching. Jennifer Valdez, First Alert Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Valdez. We'll see you on air here in just a couple moments. Again, leaving you with a live look at radar. A few sprinkles moving through. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in and for watching. We'll catch you here in just a few minutes on Atlanta News First at noon. Reminder, you can stream that coverage in the First Alert weather app, atlantanewsfirst.com, and all other streaming platforms. Have a great day. Stay warm.